Hello and welcome back. I hope that you're doing well. I wanted to go through my watercolours to just find out which ones need to be refilled soon. Not immediately, but soon. And I thought I'd take you along with me for that and just share that aspect of watercolouring. There's a few of these that I use frequently. These are two of them. I do have another tube of this one though, so I know that I don't need to restock that one. But I thought I'd take you along for this and share it and chat with you a little bit about watercolours. Hopefully we have some nice natural lighting for this and the light doesn't go away too quickly. But we are entering into the darker side of the year, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. So some of these I've had for a really long time and I've never refilled them, and then some of them are really frequent use ones for me. So I'm going to create a pile over here of things that I need to write a note of, just so that I know what potentially needs restocking at some point in the foreseeable future, but not immediate future. So we have two colours here that I use a lot of. We have brown red, and this is by ShinHan, and it is PBR25. And this features on a lot of my palettes as an earth tone. We have PV19 Quinacridone Rose, but Sennelier calls it Rose Madder Lake. And like I said, that's PV19. And this is Ultramarine Blue, but I have another one of that somewhere in this box. Bloodstone Genuine, I got this one, this tiny tube, to test it out, and I've ended up nearly using it up now, so I'll be getting a full-sized tube of that at some point. There's a tiny bit left in it, so once that's all used up, I'll be getting more of that. I have quite a few that I've had for a while, or I just occasionally use, or like some of these are newer colours for me that I picked up relatively recently. There we go. And I'm only just starting to use. This is a refill for me. It's the Cobalt Turquoise by Sennelier, so that's a refill. As you can see, I do really like Sennelier, but I don't like them for every pigment. This is the refill of the Ultramarine. Prussian Blue. This is another Ultramarine. This is French Ultramarine by Schminke. And this is my really heavily granulating Ultramarine. Got Indigo. So I haven't done this in a while where I go through and I see which ones need to be topped up at some point. So I thought I'd go through them today and have a look. That's a refill as well, I'm pretty sure. Ooh, that's a very heavily used burnt sienna. That one's going to need to be restocked up on soon. We've got another burnt sienna here, but I don't like this one as much. I'm not super fond of Sennelier's earth tones, and I love Daniel Smith for their earth tones. We've got some Mission Gold. So, not Mission Gold, some M. Graham. That's the Mission Gold. Some of these I have had for years and years, and then a lot of them I've picked up as like presents for a birthday, Christmas over the years. So this is the yellow that I use the most, and I have a refill of this in the box as well. So Yellow Lake is PY150, Nicolazo Yellow. And you certainly don't need this many watercolours. I have, like I said, I've been collecting these over years, And for the past year in 2023, I have not been buying any new pigments. I've only been restocking if I need to, and I haven't needed to for quite a bit. I think at the beginning of the year I did a restock, which is when I got the Ultramarine and the Phthalo Turquoise. But here we have French Ultramarine from Daniel Smith. This was from the tiny split primary set that I started my watercolour journey with. But I use other ultramarines now. We've got phthalo blue here, and that's my only phthalo blue. I didn't restock or try any other brands. I'm probably going to try another brand for the phthalo blue, either Sennelier or maybe ShinHan. We've got burnt umber here. That's going to need a top up at some point. There's my really old and covered in cat hair. Look at all that cat hair. That's my old phthalo turquoise. And we've got a refill of that. We have Viseian here, but this is actually phthalo green blue shade. And I have a tube of this, and then I have a tube of Daniel Smith. That's the refill of Yellow Lake. I've been meaning to try and get a tube this size of it, but they're always out of stock of that size, so I just picked up another, I think these are 15. No, they're 10. I picked up another 10mm. That's the Yellow Light, which is again from the split primary set, but I use different yellows now. That's the new Gamboge, the warm yellow from the split primary set, but again, I use different yellows now. That is the original yellow ochre that I got, but I have a big tube of it now. So a lot of these I have either moved away from or have found other brands for, or have been restocking. This is True Viridian. This is the only actual Viridian I use, and True Viridian is PG 18. So that's a granulating blue-green. We have Daniel Smith Sap Green. A lot of these, like I said, I only use every so often, like Terra Rosa. I love Terra Rosa, but I only ever use it every so often. This is the Indian Throne Blue I currently use. I really want to try the Mission, not the Mission Gold. I keep saying Mission Gold, the M. Graham Indian Throne Blue. And someone else on here, I forget your name, but someone else on here recommended in my comments to try Core and their Indian Throne Blue. So we've got a little pile over here and a very big pile of things I don't need to stock up on. We have Transparent Pyrrole Orange, which is one of my favourite warm reds. It is called an orange, but it can be used more as a warm red. We have Perylene Maroon here, or they call it Maroon Perylene. Potter's Pink. I do like Potter's Pink, but I don't like using it dry. I use this fresh. Much like with Viridian, it hardens a lot, and I've heard that if you use Schminker Potter's Pink, it re-wets a lot easier than the Winsor Newton does. We've got ASO Green. This I've been adding to my palettes more now. Olive Green. I don't use convenience mixes as much anymore for my greens, like Sap Green, the Olive Green, but I did when I started out. We've got Cerulean Blue Chromium, which pops up on some of my palettes, but not all of them, and it's still got plenty in it. I don't think I need to stock up on that one yet. Some of these, like I've mentioned, I bought to try out. Like this is Isaro. brand, Yellow Ochre, which I put in my black metal tin palette, if you've ever seen that. That palette I use for testing out different pigments and brands, and it was nice, but I don't like it as much as this Yellow Ochre. And that was my first time trying Isaro. I might try them out in the future when I start checking out other pigments again, but for the moment I'm still just sticking with restocking things that I really like using. So this is Amazonite Genuine, a lovely colour, and it's on my big palette. My big palette. That's this one here. And as I said, it's a lovely colour, but phthalo turquoise kind of covers this colour in terms of its hue, but this is a lot lighter and it's got like this subtlety to it that's really, really nice. But it's not really a necessary colour for me to restock right now. But it is very pretty. We have here Moonglow with more cat hair. This is the problem when you have multiple cats. We've got Moonglow here. I love Moonglow, it is gorgeous, but now I tend to mix my own heavily granulating pigments. So this is PG18, which is the Viseian, PB29 and PR177. And now I mix together other granulating pigments, including the Viseian, in order to create a Moonglow kind of effect. Moonglow, I believe, is on this giant palette. Yes, it is. It's in the corner here, so that's Moonglow. But for now, I don't really feel the need to restock this. We have Lunar Black here, so you'll have seen Lunar Earth earlier. These are very, very heavy granulating pigments that I bought to try out, and I've squeezed out a half pan of both of them that I've been using to just test out here and there, but it's not on any of my main poured out palettes, like the like these kind of palettes, I mean. Here we have a Jackson's Cobalt Blue, and I got this as a free gift, free sample for an order a while back. So this is PB28, and I tried it once and it was pretty good. That's an actual swatch of it on the tube, but I don't really reach for it that often, and it's not on any of my palettes. We have Payne's Grey here, which I got for doing value studies. I don't really use it on any of my palettes per se. It is on that big poured out palette, but I'm probably going to remove it for something else. We have Quinacridone Burnt Scarlet. Again, gorgeous colour. Gorgeous, gorgeous colour, but I don't really put it on my palettes, and I'm probably not going to restock it for now. There's plenty in this little tube for now though, and if you're interested in the pigment name, it's PR206. What else do we have? Ooh, we have Pearlescent Shimmer. I don't often reach for this because it's a kind of like the Lunar Black. It's not a convenience paint, what's the word, like a specialist paint. It's something that you reach for when you need it for a special effect paint. So I have plenty of that still. I don't reach for it often. Then we have Terravert, PG23 Natural Earth, Hydrated Chromium Oxide, and PG18. And Cobalt, PB28. So this is a mix of three, and again this hardens terribly. I got this ages ago, and you can kind of tell because the tube's like a really old version of the packaging, I believe, and I didn't end up liking this at all because it just hardens to a rock basically. And then we've got Cobalt Turquoise, so you can see the difference in packaging here. It's both Winsor and Newton. You've got Cobalt Turquoise. It's a gorgeous colour again, but I just don't really reach for it. So the Cobalt Turquoise Light, and this is PG50. So yeah, gorgeous colour, don't really reach for it. And this also hardens quite a lot as well on the palette, but nowhere near as bad as the other two. Let's move these to the side and I'll put the box in front of me instead. So far we don't have too many that need refilling or restocking. We only have this little pile here, which isn't too bad. We have Quinacridone Rose. So this was the first Quinacridone Rose I had. It's from the Warm Cool Split Primary set that I mentioned before. And it's gorgeous. Ooh. And it's being launched across my desk. It's, again, it's gorgeous, but I find that this one is just as nice. They're both different in how they look, but this is still really nice, and it is just slightly cheaper. So I don't need to restock that. This is my original tube of Indian Throne that I bought to try out, and there's still a little bit left, but I do have this tube that you can see I was a bit naughty and I started using this tube when I still have some of this left, but we still have plenty of that colour, so that doesn't need restocking. And the final thing we have is Pyrrole Scarlet. And again, this comes from the Split Primary set, so it was 2 reds Warm and Cool, 2 blues Warm and Cool, and 2 yellows Warm and Cool. And again, this is a gorgeous, gorgeous red. Now for my reds, my warm reds, I tend to stick to, where are we? I tend to stick to these for my warm reds now. And I want to try out the Sennelier version of PO73. And this is the red that's currently, the warm red that's currently on my mini portable painter, and this is the warm red that's on my hybrid travel palette. And I have videos on both of those palettes. So again, I might be interested in picking this up in the future, but it's not a priority right now. So let's put all of these back in the box. So like I said, I'm not picking up any new pigments at the moment, unless family were going to surprise me with any for presents. But for the moment, I'm happy with the collection I have. I have got plenty to work with, plenty to play around with, and I want to understand the pigments that I already own. There are so many pigments out there, and even within just one pigment, there are so many different brands. They can look very different and act very different across brands as well. So here we have the colours that I want to restock. I do still have quite a bit of the phthalo blue green shade left, enough to refill my palette with it. I've been re-exploring this colour lately. I haven't used it in ages because I've been using the phthalo turquoise for a few years, but I've been re-exploring this again, and I put it on my Travel Studio Hybrid palette, this smaller one here. Oh, and it's here. So here's my Split Primary set now. And I'm probably going to try out, like I mentioned, Sennelier as a possibility, just because it's a relatively good brand for me, but not with the earth tones. And then I might try out the ShinHan because, again, I've been enjoying the colours that I have used from ShinHan, and they're also pretty reasonably priced where I am. We've got the burnt sienna, the burnt umber, so quite a bit of earth tones actually. All of these are earth tones, and then we've got some primary mixing colours, so I need to make a note of these, and then once they start being used up, there's still plenty in this one as well, but once these start being used up, I can get to planning to restock them. So I thought that this was just a little everyday interesting thing to pop on in the background while you're drawing or painting or working or whatever, and just sharing a little bit of behind the scenes. Thank you for joining me. If you found this video interesting at all, even though it was very casual, leave a comment. Let me know what your favourite pigments are at the moment if you're into painting. And if you haven't tried out watercolours before, let me know which colour sounds interesting to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!